Hi, Mark Diaz here for 2danimation101.com. In this video, we're gonna talk about getting your hand to draw the way you want it to. So in the last video, we talked about the disobedient hand, how your hand doesn't do what you want it to do. So in this video, we're gonna talk about how do you get your hand, how do you get to that process of getting your hand to draw the way you want it, to do what you have in your mind. Okay, so this is how, because this is very important. Because sometimes some students enter to the training in a very high level. They are very advanced. So all they need is a couple more training and guidelines, and they are up for the races. And some are starting in a very beginner state. That's okay. So later we're gonna talk more in another video about this, but for right now, just know that the first skill you need to develop, the first milestone, is to be able to copy a drawing. Now, probably you go, yeah, I'm good at copying other drawings, but when it comes to drawing on my own, I struggle. Okay, that means you are a little bit more advanced. But let me talk about this beginner level, when you're not even able to copy a drawing. That is where a lot of beginners are. So let me share with you this drawing. This is a reference, one of the exercises in the Rogue Mangaka. So we have this face, right? And you are supposed to be drawing this. And so a lot of students try it. What happens when you cannot copy this? Because as you can see, if you already took a couple of exercises, you know that you have to copy it first, and then you have to be able to draw it from memory. If you cannot draw it by memory, you are never going to be able to draw from imagination. You have to first upload an image into your head and then get it out by memory. So this is a drawing by a student called Basel. And as you can see, it's different. Let's compare it with the reference. This is the reference. And as you can see, there are many things going wrong in here. But that is okay. This is the main point of this lesson. It's okay. The first thing, if you never draw, okay, the very first step is to get the habit of drawing every day. And then, so if you get a little mistake like this one, then it's okay. But just take into account that you're not getting your hand to draw exactly the way you want it. And so the question is, how can this student achieve this result by memory? How? Because other students are making it. How? Well, this is a concept that you can learn in this great book, The Art of Learning by Josh Waitzkin. If you don't know who that guy is, they actually made a movie in the 90s called Searching for Bobby Fischer. And it's about this boy genius, right? So he's considered a genius, and then he, in the real life, this guy then learns martial arts and learns a couple more things. And he was considered a genius, but if you read his book, he was like, okay, I'm not a genius. I'm just really good at learning. So in his book, he talks about intuition. Intuition is just this thing that you feel. So here is how pay attention, because the next thing I'm going to say is actually going to answer this question. The question is, how can you get your hand to draw what you want it to? Here's how. You have to develop good visual intuition. How do you do that? Let's take what we learned from Josh Waitzkin from The Art of Learning. First, you have to measure, and then you feel it. Let me say that again, because that is the secret to intuition. For intuition, this is how you develop it. First, you measure again and again and again and again, and then you start to feel it. Then your brain automatically does all the measurements, and it goes to your unconscious mind, and it starts giving you the information in a way of a feeling. You just feel like this is the correct space I need to do, this is the angle I need, and this is the position of the eye. You just feel it. But first, You have to measure. And if you've taken a couple of lessons in the Rogue Mangaka, then you know that we give you a grid so you can measure more precisely. Okay, so that's it for this video. The lesson is, how do you get your hand to do what you have in your mind? By first measuring again and again until you feel it. Now, in the next couple of videos, we're gonna talk about the elements that make a good drawing. This is incredibly important because you need to know what parts of your drawing you're doing okay and what parts are needing of improvement, are not okay. So maybe you're really good at drawing clean lines, but you're terrible at proportions. Okay, so you just need to make more exercises on proportions. Or maybe you're good at proportions, but your lines are too sketchy. Well, now you know that you're gonna need to be able to draw clean lines. Okay, so we're gonna cover all the 9 elements of a good drawing in the next couple of videos. Okay, starting with the next one, in which we're gonna talk about clean lines. See you in the next video.